House of the Dragon. When do Rhaenyra, Daemon, Aemond, Criston Cole and more characters die in the book? The Targaryen civil war is heating up, and no one is ever safe in Westeros. Find out when some of the major HOTD characters die in George R.R. Martin's book. The Season 2 finale of House of the Dragon is finally here, and while Team Black has suffered one devastating loss this season, a majority of the major characters have managed to see another day, at least so far. Princess Rhaenys Targaryen, played by Eve Best, was the one major loss that has been featured thus far this season. She was killed at the hands of Aemond, Ewan Mitchell, and his dragon, Vhagar, during what the actors call the kamikaze mission, that truly marked the beginning of the war between the Blacks, who support Rhaenyra's claim to the throne, and the Greens, who support Aegon's claim to the throne. Rhaenys and her dragon, Meleys, managed to escape after Aemond and Vhagar viciously attacked Aegon, Tom Glynn-Carney, and his dragon, Sunfyre. But she wasn't able to make it out of Rook's Rest alive in the cataclysmic 4th episode of Season 2. Other than Rhaenys, though, all the major players in the blossoming Targaryen civil war are still alive going into the Season 2 finale, which begs the question, when will they all die, and what's more, at whose hands? Given that the show is based on George R.R. Martin's 2018 book, Fire and Blood, there's at least a loose blueprint for each character's lifeline, so let's see who makes it to the end. In the book, Rhaenyra, who is played by Emma Darcy in the show, dies at Aegon's hands, or, technically, at the jaws of his dragon Sunfyre. She goes on to serve as Queen of the Seven Kingdoms in King's Landing, albeit briefly, before she's chased out of the Red Keep by the small folk, and upon returning to Dragonstone, she finds Aegon there. Her former council member, Sir Alfred Broom, who is played by Jamie Kenna in the show, is revealed to have betrayed her and given control of the island to Aegon, which then enables his dragon to kill her, his half-sister, at his order. In the book, her second youngest son Aegon watches her die. Based on the pacing of the show so far, it's likely Rhaenyra's death wouldn't come until late in Season 3, or in a potential Season 4. Throughout Season 2, Daemon Targaryen, played by Matt Smith, seemed to be on the verge of his demise at any given moment, as he was driven mad by waking nightmares and dreams throughout his stay at Harrenhal. The king consort ultimately meets his end, though, at the hands of his nephew, Aemond, as the royals and their dragons duke it out in a long-awaited battle. In the book, Daemon jumps from his dragon Carax's back to join Aemond on Vhagar, and gets the ultimate revenge by taking out his one good eye, shout out Lucerys. The pair then both fall to their deaths in the water below them, their dragons in tow, but Daemon's body is never recovered. Cue the theories. As previously mentioned, Aemond and Daemon's demises take place simultaneously, as the nephew and uncle battle it out on Dragonback in the book, and ultimately, they both take each other down. Their fight ends with both the princes and their dragons, Vhagar and Caraxes, landing in a lake. In contrast to Daemon, though, Aemond's body is discovered, still tethered to Vhagar. It's likely that Season 3, for which the show was just renewed, will see both Daemon and Aemond meet their ends. Aegon finds himself in rough shape as Season 2 comes to a close, and sadly, he doesn't have a long life ahead of him. In the book, he dies by poison, though it's never exactly clear who was responsible for the death. But his death comes after years of the Civil War, and plenty more back and forth between him and Rhaenyra. When Aegon died, he had already returned to King's Landing, after killing Rhaenyra in Dragonstone with his dragon Sunfyre, and was back on the throne. As for how that affects the show, it's possible that Aegon will be alive for the entirety of the series, or up until the very last episode, depending on how many seasons it's renewed for. The longevity of Sir Criston Cole, played by Fabian Frankel, is another question on fans' minds, as the common-born soldier continues to climb the ranks in the Red Keep. In the book, Cole lasts through much of the Targaryen Civil War, Team Black, and is killed during a battle called the Butcher's Ball by a mix of soldiers from the Riverlands and Northmen supporting Cregan Stark's call to arms in support of Rhaenyra. Depending on how Season 3 times out the war, Cole could meet his end in the forthcoming season, or he could continue to defy the odds and keep on kicking through